So I thought I was going to get out of speaking because it's getting so late and we're all getting so tired, but I just want to thank all the doctors. I've had fantastic care from Dr. Harbour, Dr. Lutsky, and Dr. Sato. I mean, just amazing team. And just being here, I'm just so humbled by the research that's going on, and they're just doing such incredible stuff, trying to find treatments and cures for metastatic disease and to prevent the melanoma, ocular melanoma, from metastasizing. And also Grant and the foundation for taking such a leadership role. I mean, it's just amazing what Grant does and everybody does with the foundation. I was really hesitant to speak today, and for a number of reasons, not because I didn't want to, I want to share my story and try to give some people some hope, but it's such a personal journey for all of us, and we're all so completely different. Our disease is different, our situations are different, everything, and so I would just really hope that I can share a couple things that'll help you guys, whether you have metastatic disease or not. But my cancer journey started in July of 2013. It was a cookie sheet accident, actually. Funny enough, I was cooking, and there's a very high cabinet over my refrigerator that I put, my cutting boards and my cookie sheets. Pulling out a cookie sheet, one popped out and bumped me on the forehead. And I was like, wow, I had knot on my forehead for a couple days and started to see little flashes of light. And actually, Pearl Vision was my client at the time, a Pearl Vision franchise. And I called the owner, my client, and I said, I see these flashes of light. I've had 20/20 vision in my eyes my entire life, never worn glasses, gotten a couple, like 1 or 2 dilated eye exams, but I didn't really get eye exams very often because I had 20/20 vision, never wore glasses. And so the Pearl Vision doctor, the Pearl Vision owner said, come in and see Dr. Beck, have him check out your eye just to make sure. So I went in. He said, you have a shadow in the back of your retina. I'm not sure, my equipment can't really see it, but I want you to go to a retina doctor. Went to a retina doctor, and after 4.5 hours, I was on my way to my company, my office, and I stopped in there, and he said, are you here with anyone? And I'm thinking, who is he talking to? Am I here with anyone? Of course I'm not here with anyone. I stopped on my way to work. I just wanted to check this little thing in my eye, whatever my eye was doing. Never had eye problems. Really up until I had cancer, I never had anything. I never had high cholesterol. I never had zero problems. Had 2 natural childbirth, perfect. Anyway, so he sat back and he said, you have a tumor in the back of your eye. You have to go right to see Dr. Harbour. And thank goodness I am located about an hour north of here. So I came right down and saw Dr. Harbour, and after another 4.5 hours of exams, he said, you have ocular melanoma, uveal melanoma. And I was like, I have what? I never even heard of this. I never even heard of Baskin-Palmer at the time. And so it was all very complete shock. But I was just going to say, and I don't know whether this is the same for all of you guys, but when I was diagnosed, I was in a lot of stress. I thought I was Superwoman, really, and I was balancing everything. I had a very successful marketing and public relations firm. My daughter was a student athlete, a very high-performing student athlete in college. We were just moving her into her own apartment. She actually went to Olympic trials this past year and did really well. My son was dual enrolled in high school and college at the same time. Then my mother passes away, who I was her primary caregiver, and she was local. My brother dies. He's 61 years old of a massive heart attack. I mean, it's just like my life was in this upside down time period. And, I think I kind of in the back of my head knew that something was going to happen. So the cancer diagnosis happened. But what I really decided after much soul searching and, a couple of years living with having ocular melanoma and then getting the diagnosis of the metastatic disease to my liver, I decided after lots and lots of soul searching and selling my company and being a consultant and trying to really focus on me. Here I'd been focusing on building a business, and I'd focused on my children, and I love my husband dearly. He's 27 years, but you focus on your spouse and your children and your business. But I really focused on me, and with lots of soul searching and meditation, I decided I'm not fighting cancer. I love warriors, okay, but the fighting thing I'm really not good with. And I really got a lot of inspiration from a lot of books I read. And I love what the Dalai Lama said about, the governments that practice genocide towards the Tibetans. He said they've taken everything from us. Why should I let them take my mind? And if you really think about that quote, cancer's taken a lot from us. It's maybe taken our vision. It's taken some enucleation with our eyes. It's taken years. 3 years of concern, and I've had about 4 eye surgeries. I've had the 3 treatments of Opdivo and Yervoy. Back starting in November of 2015, I've done 10 months of Opdivo treatments. I certainly, as the Dalai Lama said, I certainly don't want to give cancer my mind or anything else. So I know you guys might be curious. Grant said, I really have to say a little something about all the drugs I've taken and what they've done to me. Sutin, I did take Sutin with Dr. Sato, and it either worked really well or it didn't work well. I got metastasis, but my metastasis, thankfully, has not changed. So I was diagnosed with metastatic disease in my liver, little teeny tiny, 7 millimeter size spots, a few of them sort of scattered. I just like to say I have freckles on my liver. I have freckles everywhere else. So, there are freckles on my liver. But as long as they don't change. So that goes back to the fighting. I'm not fighting. I'm just going to, if we can live sort of symbiotically together, the spots, me, it just won't kill me, just hang out, not change, not do anything, I'm good with it. But the Sutin was probably the most difficult, funny enough. It's an oral pill that I took, and I didn't realize how exhausted I was on that. I did do a triathlon while taking Sutin. I raised money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society and did team and training, and I finished. That was my, I think, second triathlon. Since I've done 4, since I've been on treatment, I'm doing a half marathon, and I think exercise has really, really helped me. I don't know if you guys read Time Magazine. There's a great article in the newest version of Time Magazine. My husband's like, you have to read this, and I almost brought it. And it's amazing. It talks about how now there was some very solid scientific research on how good exercise helps even very ill people. So I make it a definite goal of mine to exercise very regularly, and I'm training for the half marathon with a complete group of women, many cancer survivors. One, has had leukemia 14 years ago. Another one's had breast cancer twice, and we're all, sort of. And that's what I realized, and that's something I wrote down, that I really realized that, the cancer doesn't define me, and everybody seems to have had one type of cancer or another. So I try not to even think that, I look around, no one's different than any of us. When you get cancer, I think you think, oh my God, can they see it on me? Can they see my eye droop? Can they see my redness? Do they know? But you know what? I came to a conclusion that no, and I feel healthier than most people anyway. It's just, it doesn't define me. So I just want to say that the treatment, the Opdivo, has been really successful, and it's been super, super easy for me. I do have some rash, which Dr. Lutsky gives me a little bit of prednisone. It just kind of keeps everything like a little 10 milligram. That doesn't seem to bother me. I take that every morning. And that's it. Really, I could get the Opdivo infusion IV and go running 5 miles. It really doesn't affect me, so I've been extremely fortunate. I think one of the things that I really focused on was getting myself healthy, and something that I do want to, I'm just going to wrap this up quickly because I know that we're all exhausted, but one thing that I really decided is that the doctors have so much information and can do so much for us on, they show those really complex graphs, and they're brilliant, brilliant, brilliant doctors doing so much with the molecular level, but I felt that me as a patient, I need to do my part, I really need to do my part. And what I felt my part is the things that I may be able to affect, which are my mind, and controlling, not letting my mind get me ill or going off on some crazy tangent and thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die tomorrow, you know. I mean, I think that's really helped me control that. My body, nutritionally speaking, I mean, I will never drink a drop of alcohol again. It just isn't worth it to me. It's in my liver. Why not keep my liver as strong and healthy as I can? I could care less, right? I do mocktails all the time, you know, I drink non-alcoholic beer. I mean, there are ways to, you know, people's like, they're social, how do you do it? And I'm like, I have a beautiful stemmed wine glass, I float some fruit in, I put my sparkling, I bring a bottle of sparkling water, my husband brings a bottle of wine, you know. And I really, and the spirit and soul, I think, are important too. So I had an acupuncture doctor I started seeing about 2 years ago, and I find acupuncture extremely helpful. And he told me something that I think about literally almost every day. He said to me that if I can learn to meditate and go inside, that there's so much inside instead of always external. And that there's a vast world inside. And I love this quote, this Oliver Wendell Holmes quote, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny compared to what lies within us. And I just think I've really focused on that. You know, I meditate probably twice a day, maybe more, because I do short times, you know, even for a minute, you know, just to get centered and grounded and just really focus on feeling well. And I think that, you know, and everybody's different, of course, but I do take care of my immune system. You know, I eat the right food, I sleep daily, I exercise daily. And it might seem like a chore, but you get really used to when I, you know, eat something, I think, is that the best thing for my body? And it's just sort of natural to me. You know, if I don't think it's going to be healthy, if it's a potato chip, I'll go, is it really worth it? No, it's not really worth it. You know, I want to stay healthy. I want to stay around to see my grandchildren, right? And so I honestly, I have learned to meditate. I paint. I make time for friends and family. I feel gratitude. It's really scary, and I think getting over that fear and not having that fear sort of run your entire life. And I probably had a year of that. I probably had a year of adjusting. How can I not feel fearful all the time? Oh my God, is it going to metastasize? And what's the best clinical trial? And what's the best doctor? And am I doing the right thing? And I mean, I can't express to you more how important it was for me to get away from being scared all the time. And now I don't feel any fear. Again, I mean, there are certain times it sort of starts bubbling up, and then I have to like try to work very hard to bring that fear and that anxiety down. And Dr. Lutsky's team will tell you, I am happy every time I go in for Opdivo. I'm smiling. I'm like, all right, I'm superwoman, I'm bionic, I'm gonna go in there, it's gonna make my immune system incredible. And literally, when I'm getting that infusion for that 60-minute infusion, I just focus on it making me so strong and so healthy, and I'm gonna go running, and I plan my week, and that's all I focus. You know, I focus on the positive parts of it. And you know, when unfortunately sometimes some patients will talk to me and tell me all the cancers they've had, and do I have a port and their port's bothering them, and I sort of. I want to be very kind and loving and lovely, but I kind of go, well, I just don't want to hear that. I want to stay, you know, I really want to stay. It's hard. It's really hard. It's a hard balance because you want to be as sympathetic, but you want to be as positive, and you want to try to think of all the, you know, I'm going to go grocery shop, and I'm going to go running. You know, this isn't going to be a big deal for me. So, that is basically what I wanted to share with you, is my journey and sort of how the coping mechanisms I think that we all really need to have in life. And again, thank you very much, and I'm very humbled by all the doctors here and meeting everybody, so it's been great. Thank you.